Going live now. All right, live on YouTube. And I'm getting ready to go live on Instagram as well.
Right. What do we got today? What's on the agenda?
All right, we're live on Instagram too. The agenda today is pretty straightforward. Today is going to be a quick stream. We're going to talk about the new business challenge. So I don't think you actually saw.
Yeah, this is dangerous because it's dangerous. I haven't seen this.
That is true. I like to take risks like that. And
you know that I have a filter problem.
Trust issues.
And if I see it and it's bad, I'm gonna say that I hate it.
That's why we're doing it live. We're keeping it as real as it gets. So
I'll set up what this is because I think it's a great promo. I'm excited about it. Pierre and I have been in the digital space for many years, maybe me a couple more than him.
Just a couple.
Based on when we were born. And we know that entrepreneurs and people who want to be entrepreneurs and people who want to start that side business and that side hustle come in lots of different flavors. But a lot of what makes the difference between someone who is doing it and seeing the success and figuring it out and someone who is talking about it and not doing it is really just kind of like the motivation to do it. That's what we see. We talked a couple weeks ago, or maybe a couple streams ago, maybe it was last week, about how there's the people who get in, they like hustle really hard for a weekend and they get as much done as they can, and then they really don't see an impact from that hustle, and then they kind of quit. And then we see the people who work for years, but they don't really work doing the right things. So they spend years sort of on the fence of entrepreneurship, but nothing really happens. So we were taking that feedback that we've seen and thinking, how do we help our founders to beat that cycle, right? And we came up with the new business challenge, which says, if you come in, you start with Builderall, you complete these, we give you a list of 15 tasks that we know will improve your business or help you launch your business. And if you complete 9 of them, we're going to give you your money back for your first 3 months of Builderall, and we're going to pay for your domain name for the first year. So it's a really great way to get in, build for free, potentially for 3 months, as long as you just complete the tasks and get a free domain name out of it. And it also gives you a checklist of things that you're like, look, I've got a little extra time. I don't know what I should be working on or what I want to work on. Let me just go through this list. So what Pierre's going to show now is the actual list. And maybe I love it. Maybe I hate it. We've talked about the things that are on the list, but as far as the form factor and the look and feel and how it's presenting the information, I haven't seen it before. So I'm excited.
Cool. So this is how the whole thing looks. I'm going to zoom in.
So this is not at all visible, especially on mobile.
Yeah, for sure. I'm going to zoom in.
I don't know if you can change this.
Do you mean on Instagram?
Yeah.
I think I'd need to mess around with the settings. While I do that, you can kind of go through and give your thoughts and opinions. How about that?
Sure. Let's go. So the new business challenge. Straightforward enough. Can you scroll a little bit? Maybe take us out of the frame so at least the people on Instagram are seeing like the full tool, the full thing.
Sure. There we go.
Okay, that's a little better. All right, so we have 3 categories, just 3? Scroll all the way down. Yeah, just 3.
Just 3 categories, exactly.
Okay. So one is on the supercharged bundle. Now, the other thing I like about this is even if you don't have any money to start. I mean, one, you could do a free trial, but if you don't want to do the free trial, you don't want to really get started. Our supercharge bundle, which is the first thing on this list, is free. I'm trying to look, I guess on Instagram, you can't see any of this. Can you zoom into like the supercharge part so we can talk about that first?
Sure.
Because you can't see any of this on Instagram. It's so small. It's not visible. All right. Maybe that's a little better. So if you sign up for our supercharge bundle, you could actually put this stuff on any website. So even if you've got a website somewhere else, if you've got a Wix website or a Squarespace or WordPress, you can still use these tools and they will help your performance. So think about like live chat, for example. You've got if you've got a website already, you've probably got hundreds of people visiting every day. If not hundreds, you've got some number of people visiting every day. And you've got no way to interact with them potentially if you don't have like a live chat system. So if you just put our live chat in there, it's free. It lets lets your users click and start a chat with you, and you interact with them, and ideally you convert them, to a lead or a sale. But we know that works. We've seen it work. There's lots of data. We have, on our side, we've got hundreds of thousands of websites that we see performance increase when people add a live chat. Even if they don't interact with the live chat, just the fact that a live chat is available makes people feel really good, like the company's accessible, right? So put a live chat on your website. Social proof, I love social proof. If you don't know what that is, it's when you're browsing a website and in the corner, something will pop up and say, oh, this person just signed up 6 minutes ago, or that person just bought this thing 2 days ago. And it's a really good way to let your users know that there's activity going on your website. And that can be really powerful when they're considering whether they want to choose you or not. So social proof is great. Again, it's part of our supercharge bundle. Browse notifications. These are a little tougher if you're on a third-party website because some of them do not allow you to install the script that's required. But what browser notifications are is you've probably seen them when you're browsing a website and a little pop-up comes up in the upper left-hand side and it says, this website wants to send you notifications. That can be really useful. It gives you a chance to talk to people whether they're on your website or not. Again, it's free. Meta autoresponder is awesome. That's where you can do Instagram posts or Facebook posts and you say, hey, comment, join in the comment, and I'll send you a free whatever, right? Those are done by autoresponders. We've got a free autoresponder that works great with Meta on the Supercharge bundle. And then the exit pop-up, which we see on Builderall, we actually use this ourselves. If we don't have the exit pop-up, our sales reduce by like 16%. And just by having one, it always increases sales, always. And the exit pop-up means when our script determines that a user is sort of moving their mouse off the page or getting ready to leave, it'll give like a last chance offer in a pop-up. When you have this, you can design that however you want. You can put whatever offer you want there. Really useful. And again, you don't have to do all of these, but if you do 3 out of the 5, you're on track to qualifying for that new business discount. Okay, can you zoom into the next section, the website section?
Yep. This next section here is the website section.
I like this one. Again, connecting or buying a domain, creating a landing page, creating a checkout page, editing and publishing a thank you page template, and creating a form to contact or subscribe. Again, these are really simple tasks. And we know that by doing these, you're going to get better performance. If you have a landing page that you can use for your offers, it always, always, always works better than sending people to your homepage. If you have your own domain, you're going to get much better performance than if you're using like a temporary domain or a placeholder domain. And if you don't have a form on your website, either for an email subscription or a contact form, again, it makes it look to potential leads or contacts that you really aren't accessible as a company, and that's a scary proposition. So I would recommend you take these steps. They're really strong. They're going to help your business. And then the last one is on the email side. Again, these are really, really easy things to do, and they are impactful, right? So for those people who are like, I want to launch my business, I don't know what to do, I don't know what steps to do, this is a great checklist for getting there. And if you complete the 9 things out of the 15, you're going to get 3 months of free service. You're going to get a free domain. I'll talk about one because there's one here that people don't always realize you have it. Builderall, go up for a second. Go back up. It's the creating a professional email. So when you connect your domain to Builderall, you can create your sales at, info at, or like I have Pedro at or Pierre at, whatever your domain name is. Having professional email accounts is really critical because it just looks more professional than the whatever at Gmail or whatever at yahoo.com. And people don't know that, like, when you have a Builderall account, you get your professional email account for free. It's included as part of the service. So you don't have to pay G Suite to use like a domain on their account. You don't have to pay for a different email hosting service. It's all built in here to Builderall. You can register your domain, you can create your professional email, you can create your website, you can create your email list, you can create your live chat. All these things can be done in this one place. And if you take the time to do this, you're going to see growth in 2025 because these are the steps that grow businesses. So I actually really like this so far. Good job, Pierre. What else we got?
Thank you. This is really what I wanted to hone in on today for a couple of reasons. Let me remove this so people can see us. And unfortunately, if you are on Instagram, the stream today is going to be horizontal. That's pretty much my bad. Next go around, I'll make sure to keep that portrait setting kind of enabled. But in any case, if you are here, if you're watching on YouTube or on Instagram, drop in a comment. This is a live session, so ask your questions, and we'll get them answered. Pedro, what I wanted to talk to you about is actually getting started, and I want you to sort of get into the details of why this is such a great idea for people, why we kind of broke out the challenge in a 3 of 5 per category section. And so, you're an expert in getting things done. We want to hear how you would approach it and like the reasoning behind each of these categories.
You said an expert in getting things done. I would argue I'm even better at getting things started. I'm great at getting things started. But sometimes starting is all you need. Because starting then gives you the motivation to keep going, right? I generally don't get into a project thinking about the end, quite so much, because it's hard to motivate yourself to an end, right? When you're starting a business, this is not a 3-month or even a lot of times a 3-year thing. Like, you're going to be building for a long time. And so getting started to me is actually more important. I think that's what this list does. And that's why we wanted to make it where you don't have to complete every single thing, because also maybe not every single thing is relevant to you, right? Or to your business. But we wanted to make it where, like, hey, there's 5 things you could do, and pick the ones that are going to be the most useful for you, and that was our motivation here. I think, there's a tendency to overthink sometimes, especially, like, I've met a lot of really analytical founders who are really great, but they're like talking to lawyers and tax professionals and like all of these sort of people that you don't really need until you're much further along, right? You should have your website with your landing page and your offer well before you're talking to lawyers and accountants. You've got nothing, right? What is the lawyer gonna law? Nothing. What's the accountant gonna account? Nothing. You got no money, right? Don't spend. I knew a guy that spent like I think it was like $40,000 on like legal advice and financial advice, and he didn't even have a website. Like, dude, what are you doing? Like, just launch. And it wasn't. And again, if you've got a $5 million budget that you have kind of planned out for this business, fine, spend the 40K or whatever, because you've got the budget. But most people, you just want to start quickly, and you got to get something done, and you got to prove if this business is even worth doing before you invest big money, right? So, like, get out there with a basic landing page, like, pick a template, put it out there, send it to 10 people and see what they say. That's where you should start. And I think a lot of these steps that we have here are going to help you start to get that feedback, like a live chat. If you have a website and you've got a live chat on it, that's the best chance you're going to have to like interact with people visiting you and get that critical data of like, what do they say? Like, oh yeah, this looks really good, but I don't really have the budget for this right now. Okay, that's an interesting data point. You know, does that mean our pricing is too high? Does it mean we've showed the pricing before we showed the value? Like, where did we go wrong that they're thinking they don't have the money to invest in it? Because it's almost never about the money, right? I mean, again, Starbucks is huge and their coffee's 5 times the price that you can get it anywhere else, right? And they don't have great coffee. I'm not gonna say, I love Starbucks. I'm not gonna say they don't have great coffee. I like Starbucks coffee. Nothing about Starbucks. I'm not gonna knock Starbucks, but it's more expensive. And if the whole business proposition was just like, hey, we have coffee, this is the price, you probably would have had a bunch of people push back on the price because they wouldn't have communicated the value early enough, right? So as you're doing this, as you're interacting with customers through live chat, through email, it gives you that chance to understand what the objections are and modify the offer, tweak the business model as needed. And that's what you want to be doing in the early days, not worrying about legality and all that stuff.
That's a great point. That's a great point. I think a lot of people get lost in trying to make something perfect before it needs to be. And I think that's just great advice. To just get started, get out there, see how people respond, see how people are interacting with your business, and go from there. I think that's awesome.
We don't use this, and it's not on our. We don't use this as much, although we do use it now, and it's not on our list. But like the quiz builder, we have a quiz builder that you could use to do a survey with like your audience if you have an existing list, and that's a really great way to get market data. You were using that in one of the sales funnels for a while,
yes.
And it's great because as people are becoming leads, they're also telling you about themselves and telling you about their preferences and their values. And especially if you're starting a new business, that's a great way to like, it's a great time to be understanding customer at that level. Okay. So even like the quiz builder, you should do that as like a bonus. If they want to do the quiz builder, it'll replace any of the 3 categories, but we're not going to do that now. But
yeah,
if somebody contacts and says, hey, Pedro said I could do the quiz builder and it would count, fine.
If I can add something to the quiz, I think it's such a great tool because it does 2 things. If you give that to people, it'll help you move prospects down the funnel, because a lot of the potential pushback could be, in our situation, people not knowing which plan is the right plan for them. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of information to be gathered before people make that decision. And if you provide them a quiz that gives them that answer, or it gives them a couple of options for them to choose from, then the whole sales process is much easier because they know, now they don't have to do all the research. It's kind of done for them.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think that's a great tool to implement.
Yeah. I mean, again, we said we'd keep this one short. My thing is like, just stop watching streams. I appreciate that you watched this stream. Thank you. Stop watching streams, just get it done. Just sign up, fill it out. At the end of the day, it doesn't cost you anything, right? Especially if you participate in this challenge, because you're going to build a bunch of really interesting things for your business. And then we're just going to give you your money back for the 3 months of service, and you're going to get a domain out of it. And then you're off to the races. And maybe at that point you decided, like, after the data you've collected, this isn't the business you want to do and you want to rethink it. That's cool too. Like that, getting over that point. I worked with this great founder, multiple time entrepreneur. He's raised like millions in venture capital. He and I would meet. He would meet with me like once every week, and he would like, I've got this great idea. What should I do? And we would work through how to validate it. And then like he'd come back a week later and be like, okay, you're right. That wasn't a good idea. And I'd be like, I didn't say it was a good idea. I said, you need to validate it. He'd be like, okay, well, it wasn't a good idea. Here's a new one idea. And he just like would go through these ideas. And I've heard several like really successful entrepreneurs that do this. Like they're constantly like validating some concept that they had or some solution that they had. They usually always want to talk to like a specific audience because they've got a point of like industry knowledge and they know there's a problem, right? And so they're trying to solve that problem for that audience, but they go through like different solutions like on rapid fire every week. Oh, I'm trying this thing. Oh, I did this. I talked to these people. Okay, I don't think it's going to work. Here's a new thing. I want to try this. You could do that with this, right? You spend 3 months building something, validating it, getting a new, and then at the end you realize, hey, this isn't going to work. Give me my money for the new business challenge and give me my domain, and then I'm going to move on and try the next thing. You know, like that's a great use of time as well. Like I meet people also that they've had like one business idea since they were like 19 and they're 35 now and they're still talking about that business idea. I'm like, dude, you could have done that business 12 times already, you know, and either prove that it worked and you'd have money, or prove that it didn't work and you'd have knowledge and you could like move on to the next thing. But don't just sit on it for 15 years dreaming about something that could be, you know. I think it's a little bit of fear that like maybe it doesn't work and then maybe I'm out of ideas. But trust me, when you go through the process, you're going to learn so much in that process that you're going to come out of it with like 12 more ideas. And you'll be like, okay, now I need to do all 12 of those ideas. It's every entrepreneur has that same journey. Try something, you think it's your big thing, you think it's going to win. I love meeting like 22-year-old founders because they have one idea and they think that's the idea that's going to change the world, you know, and almost every time it doesn't, you know, but they come out of it and they're like, man, I didn't get what I wanted, which was to build a really successful company, but I got so much experience and I got 30 more ideas that now I'm going to iterate through over the next 10 years or whatever, you know, probably over the next 3 years because they've learned to be fast. So it's that same thing. Like maybe you're not sure, but you think you have an idea, just run it. 3 months, build a website, create your professional email, send an email, do an email campaign, get some subscribers. And at the end of 3 months, maybe you think, okay, this isn't as great as I thought. And then you move on and you check that off your list and you go to the next one. That's a really powerful way to like look at it. It's not a failure. It's like I tested this thing, it didn't work. Now I got to think about the next one.
Beautiful. Love it. Well, we can wrap up today. It's a quick stream. I appreciate your time, Pedro. Thank you.
I appreciate your time.
Oh, shucks.
And your fashion sense.
Thank you. I've been known to have various varieties of flannel, and I like to think of it as 50 shades of flannel. Okay, we can stop here, and we'll see you next time.
I love it. I love it. All right. Thanks.
Thanks.
We'll talk later.